Well, good evening from wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to KUTV Prime Time News this 20th of August, just a week after the general election. And before we get to the bulletin, here are the highlights. Fire raises a dormitory in Kisumu Boys High School 2 days after schools reopened. Raila Odinga meets with clerics as Kenya Kwanza welcomes the UDM party to the alliance. The electoral body IEBC calls for sit-down with candidates from areas where elections were postponed. And AD Brian Olunga led to rest in Malava, Kakamega County as family continues seeking for justice. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm Bentura Komboka and my sign language interpreter for today is Paul Wakoli. 2 days after students went back to their academic assignment, and Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha is on record for reprimanding students, particularly from Kisumu Boys High School, where DCI officers have been posted to investigate a fire that gutted through a series of buildings in the institution that began at around 8:30 a.m. today. So far, no casualties have been reported in the said incident.
A Swahili proverb claims that a good day's graces are clear in the morning, and if this adage is to be adapted, the scene early this morning bore nothing close to good at Kisumu Boys High School, where a fire gutted through one of the school's dormitory. This was the situation as effort was being put to rescue some property from a dormitory neighboring the one under the mercy of the flames. The fire affected 3 dormitories, 5 classes, and the mathematics department. According to the school's principal, Duncan Owiye, the dormitory fire started at around 8:30 a.m. when students were settled in their classes. The joint effort with support from members of the community managed to contain the fire at around 10 a.m.
The unfortunate thing that our dormitory was in time with one of the classes, so that also got affected, one of the classes that are there. I also want to report clearly, we had 1,500 boys in the compound, and none has been affected by this fire stand. There's no casualty about this fire stand.
According to Kisumu Deputy County Commissioner Hussein Alanson Hussein, there were no casualties and the cause of the fire is not known, but investigations are underway. In a response to the incident, Education CS George Magoha has termed the incident unacceptable, pointing to examination fever by students with the national exams on the horizon, while at the same time accusing parents of not having a proper behavioral leash on their children. This comes roughly 2 days after the school's reopening, after the 2 weeks break to allow the August 9th elections to take place. Mutweri Eliud for KU TV.
Well, thank you, Mutwiri, for that report. And education stakeholders are now worried about future funding of education, even as schools reopen after the just concluded general election. This comes amid disruption of the academic calendar due to elections occasioned with laments over the increased cost of living. Emmanuel Kutosi with the following.
Speaking separately, educational stakeholders have expressed fears over the rising cost of living, prescription of National Constituency Development Fund, and infrastructure required to operationalize junior secondary school under the competency-based curriculum.
Kama Wakenya wote mahali tuko, kama wazazi, kwa sababu hao watoto ni watoto wetu wa kila mtu.
Naona upande wa corona, watoto wetu walikaa nyumbani sijui ni miezi ngapi. Hapa watoto wameumia kimasomo. Na chusi watoto walifunga mazule kulingana na upande wa kura. Sasa watoto si wameumia chameni kimasomo.
Amasege SDA Secondary School Principal Robinson Moseti Matara observed although the institution had done the 2 phases of CBC classroom construction, hurdles stood on its way to implement the junior secondary program.
This has been a challenging period in our schools, particularly because of the just concluded national elections. The CDF kitty has been coming in handy, and it has greatly assisted our schools. This time around, now that it has been scrapped, we are worried about what's going to happen. To be sincere is that this kitty has been helping our schools. You go to many of our schools, classrooms have been constructed, dorms have been constructed on CDF.
Moseti disclosed infrastructural development in the school had been funded by the devolved kitty that had just been scrapped and petitioned the new government to provide an alternative. He petitioned the incoming government to post enough teachers for the new curriculum and challenged the serving ones to work hard in compensating lost time by candidates in view of the impending national exam.
We shall be having 2 admissions come next year, January. Those joining junior secondary and those the normal admissions, which means this may need support from the government, particularly in the supply of teachers.
The Anglican Church of Kenya Bishop John Omangi decried the current economic hardships visited on Kenyans and urged the new government to come up with solution.
Kama wachungaji hapa mashinani, tunaona wazazi wengi wako reluctant kuchukua watoto wao shuleni, hatujui ni nini inaendelea katika mawazo yao.
The bishop cited lack of subsidized maize flour in shops and reluctance by parents to send their children to school as some of the challenges they faced and which should be addressed by the new authorities.
Wanafunzi wamepoteza sana hii mwaka, na hii ni jambo ambalo litakuja kufikiriwa siku zijazo, kwamba hii mwezi hata kama tulikuwa kikatiba kufanya uchaguzi mwezi wa 8 unaadhiri ache masomo ya wanafunzi katika taifa letu la Kenya. Serikali ambayo itachukua usukani baada ya mahakama kutoa uamuzi itaangalia swali kama swala la dharura.
In an attempt to catch up with lost time, the academic calendar has had a lengthy structure this year, coupled by turbulence in food prices, all within the educational transition, all occasioning a deeper dive in the pocket for the elusive dime. Emmanuel Kutosi, KUTV.
Well, thank you, Manuel, for that report. And still on education matters, Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has today inspected and commissioned Phase 2 of CBC classrooms in Kwale and Mombasa counties. Speaking at Bomo Secondary School in Changamwe, Magoha says the construction of Phase 2 classroom is at 82% across the country. Magoha has urged the education and administration on officials to expedite the construction process, especially in Mombasa and Nairobi, making a reference in Nandi County, who have done better than other counties despite having very difficult topographies.
Yeah, this morning we started in Kwale. We had Matuga girls and we commissioned the CBC classrooms there. I also assessed the level of preparedness of the students there by discussing with them some biology issues, and I was extremely impressed that the children are nearly ready to take the exam. We have then come to Changamwe, and finally we are here at Bomu. We are at 82%, which means we have less than 1,000 classrooms to complete. And it is a task that I'm very happy to say that we are going to complete, because the task was basically for 3,500 classrooms. The majority of the 1,000 classrooms remaining are at either walling or roofing level. We are going to move with speed to ensure that they are completed latest by Friday next week, or latest the other Monday.
Now on to the political realm. The Deputy President and President-elect William Ruto's current residence, which is accustomed to a lot of activities, pledged to its norm today at the UDM party members were officially welcomed to Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Talks of freedom of inclusion were rife amidst castigations from the Azimio One Kenya team of the political moves being against the law. The group walk by the new political partners envisioned the motion of unity as the UDM party, formerly affiliated to the Azimio camp, switched sides. The United Democratic Movement, led by its party leader and Mandera Senator-elect Ali Roba, Deputy Party Leader and Marsabit Governor-elect Mohammed Ali and Mandera Governor-elect Mohammed Adan Khalif, alongside its 7 MPs, another senator and 35 members of County Assembly had gone yellow from blue. And the host president-elect William Ruto welcomed the newly acquired friends who will help close the margin in the National Assembly, whose majority is enjoyed by the Azimio coalition.
Karibuni sana. Karibuni sana. As has been said here, this is the alliance and the coalition of the willing and the free. There were no ifs and there were no buts. We just said, actually when Roba and my other good brothers came and we had the first meeting, they told me that we have come here whether you like it or not.
Perhaps in response to claims of illegality of the political realignment, Ruto claimed the freedom of inclusion, promising the UDM party an equal slot in Kenya Kwanza.
I am truly grateful that as Kenyans, we are progressively appreciating that we can compete, we can hold different views, we can belong to different parties, but we can find a formula to work together for the greater good of the nation. No government institution will be used by anybody to criminalize friendships or associations or political affiliations.
Similar welcome statements were issued by various principals, with a faction with the newly acquired members noting satisfaction in the new relationships.
I was never trusted. On the other side, I was always told this guy is a mole representing Ruto. We bring here 7 members of parliament, 7 members of National Assembly, 2 senators, 2 governors, and 35 members of County Assembly, where we know and feel we are at home.
This is the first time in the history of Kenya that a person seeking to be the president of Kenya went to every corner of the country and asked people, if you elect me, what do you want me to do for you?
We have 12 independent members of parliament, and 10 of them have already met the president-elect and his team and confirmed unequivocally that they shall be working with Kenya Kwanza. So that brings us to 180 members of the National Assembly.
Waliandika katiba yetu, walisema ya kwamba tuna uhuru wa kuungana pamoja, freedom of association.
But, there is nothing that can limit you from associating with those whom you want to.
I want to take this opportunity to confirm to you that you are joining the majority coalition.
Wakenya wako na uhuru wa kuungana, na kama wale wamedhulumiwa kwenye wamekuwa, wako na uhuru wa kuja katika nyumba ambayo inaheshimu Wakenya wote. Na ndio maana tunakaribisha UDM tukiongozwa na party leader Ali Roba na viongozi wengine wote.
With the 2022 election still a matter of contention, Ruto is seemingly filling the gap that Azimio had the better of, particularly in the National Assembly, managing 159 against Azimio 162, a subject whose legality remains a cause for concern in the political arena. Well, there they say that don't take politics to heart because anything can happen. And moving on, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga has today met with a host of church clerics in his current residence in relation to a petition the coalition intends to file at the Supreme Court in regards to the just concluded August 9th presidential elections. Raila maintains the contest was interfered with, though urging his supporters to maintain peace while they seek legal redress. The same sentiments were also shared by Archbishop Martin Kivuva Musonde and Anglican Bishop Joseph Olesepet, calling on Kenyans to maintain peace while awaiting the Supreme Court decision against the election of the President-elect William Ruto.
Sinful, do not let us promote disorder. Do not
right. Shukran sana. Mimi nataka kutoa shukrani kwetu sisi kama jamii hapa na wanaazimio kwa wale viongozi wa kanisa na hata viongozi wa Uislamu kuamua kuja kutembelea sisi na vile vile kutuongea na viongozi wengine wa taifa letu juu ya yale ambayo yametendeka katika nchi yetu na vile vile kuombea amani katika taifa letu. Sisi tumesema tunataka kuona kama haki inatendeka, ndio amani ipatikane.
The Christians and the Muslims in our various formations having come to this home of Right Honorable Raila Odinga and his family to provide pastoral care to the family. And I want to affirm that this family belongs to the Anglican Church. I know there has been many people doubting where do they worship. And we are here as his pastors and the fraternity of the people of faith to come and do pastoral care and visit and pray with them.
Na kama mnavyojua katika kitengo cha Azimio tumefika sisi wana madhehebu mbalimbali kwa ajili ya kusali na yeye nyumbani kwake. Tumetumia muda mwingi kuomba, kujisikiza tunaonaje na tunajisikiaje, na pia tumetambua kwamba ni mtu mwenye moyo mwema kutamani nchi hii endelee na amani, endelee na haki, na zaidi wapigia kura tuliopiga kura tuna kwamba tujue ukweli wa mambo.
Well, with that story, we take a short commercial break here at KUTV, and we'll be back with more news, including sports news. Don't go too far.
The percentage in which government is giving opportunities to this specific type of groups under the AGPO, like what percentage has the government given?
No, but like I said, you see, when a budget is done for every year, every ministry will be able to place their budget for it. But whatever is given to them, 30% of the budget for that ministry is dedicated to AGPO. 30%. So if let's assume, for instance, that a ministry is given 2 billion, for instance. Now, 30% of 2 billion would be about 600,000? 600 million. That will be dedicated to AGPO. And therefore, when you go to a ministry, as a young person, as a person living with disability, 600 million is actually meant for you.
This is The Agenda with Ventura Komboka and Colonel Retired Cyrus Oguna.
Church O'Clock Show. I'm your host, Esther Becky.
And my name is DJ Terrell.
We start you off with a word of prayer and get you started with a live transformational worship experience. And have our minds renewed by the word of God on the word segment.
And not forgetting new music za hii wiki, yani ndakuwa bado nawapatia pale wasanii wamekuwa kiwakali. So make sure manzo tune in because zitakuwa zina flow pia pale mixes kwa wingi, yani zitakuwa zina come through, and pia performance yani from our gospel artist hapa on Gospel Art
from 7 to
10 a.m. only on KUTV. So our lobster is ready, our cauliflower is ready, our mashed potato is also ready, and finally our cauliflower puree is ready.
Welcome back to KUTV Prime Time News, and on to other stories. Electric vehicle firm Rome, formerly known as OPS, has today announced the launch of new electric mass transit bus, the Rome Rapid, which is specifically designed to address the unique challenges of public transport in Nairobi and Africa as a whole. It offers a solution for the growing number of cities implementing bus rapid transit BRT systems across the continent and is the first of its kind in Kenya. Rome Rapid is the first bus in Kenya designed for mass transit with a high capacity of 90 passengers. The bus allows for ample room, efficient boarding and disembarking of commuters with both sitting and standing areas. Furthermore, it features priority seats for the elderly and people with limited mobility, extended legroom, designated areas for wheelchairs, and low-floor entry for easy access. Rome aspires to create a new perception on public transport vehicles by providing a mobility solution that is inclusive, modern, efficient, and sustainable. Rome Rapid also has zero tailpipe emission and low noise pollution, paving the way for the next generation public transport system in Africa. Now to western parts of Kenya, despite the ongoing investigation of the late Brian Olunga, who was the aide to Kimilili politician Brian Haemba. Olunga has been laid to rest today, rather in an emotional send-off at Nabaholo, Malava, Kakamega County. The deceased lost his life after being allegedly shot by Kimilili elected member of parliament, Dismas Baraza.
Brian Olunga's family bore a somber mood today, mourning the loss of their departed firstborn son, a sole breadwinner allegedly killed in the line of duty as an aide to politician Brian Haemba. According to the autopsy report issued on Tuesday, Olunga succumbed after he was shot during a political altercation at a polling station in Kimilili. He was rushed to the Kimilili Sub-County Hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival.
Napenda amani. Apendi yani umuingilie ama uingilie beshte yake. Ni msali kwa brada. Hata before akufe.
Tunalilia tu serikali tusaidie bana. We need justice as a family, as friends.
Na nimempoteza, so nikaa nimepoteza nusu yangu. Chenye najua Odinga amekufa. Tunasikia kesi bado iko kotini. Chenye ningeomba tu serikali, kama wanasema kuna justice, acha niaminie kupitia kwa Odinga. Justice ifanyike mazee. Yes. Tunaumia.
Kimilili MP-elect Didmas Baraza, who is the prime suspect, remains in police custody, having presented himself at the Bungoma police station after 2 days of going missing. In his defense, his lawyer moved to court to block his arrest, claiming that the allegations being made against him were inconclusive and baseless. Didmas, however, appeared before the court where he pled innocence and expressed his commitment to working with the police to solve the case.
Didmas was following us, so when I entered the vehicle, he came straight to where the vehicle was, went to the driver and ordered the driver not to drive off. But of course the driver could only take directions from me. He proceeded to start the car so that he can move from that particular station. Then he crossed on the front side from the driver's seat to the co-driver's seat where the deceased was sitting, and removed his pistol from the waist and aimed at the deceased.
It was not justified at all to take the life of this young man.
According to eyewitness reports, Brian Olunga was shot as he attempted to flee the rowdy company of Didmas Baraza, who is a licensed gun owner. Several leaders have condemned the killing and have condoned with the family as they push for thorough investigations to be done and justice to be served. Stephanie Alice reporting for KUTV.
Well, we hope justice will prevail there. And before COVID-19, they were just like any other internet user. But now they have made over 50 appearances on television shows and interviews thanks to their talent and work. Born, raised in Kenya's Huruma slums, these kids are both helping their families and making a name for themselves. Our reporter Joyce Masharia visited the H-Town kids and compiled the following report.
It is Saturday morning and we find our way to the popular Nairobi's Huruma slum, an area figuratively associated with poor standards of living, with many living on below $1 a day, despite the fact that the neighborhood has for a long time been perceived as one of the criminal hubs in Nairobi County. Youth in Huruma have taken to change the image of the area through talent.
The onset, Your Excellency, hii ni ile nilisoma kule, hiyo ingine sawa. Hiyo ingine nilisahau kwa gari ya Minister for Health, lakini ni sawa.
My interest in Huruma was sparked by a group of kids who became an online sensation during the incursion of the COVID-19 pandemic. They are famously known as the H-Town Kids. You may have come across some of their work on social media, mimicking political figures, news personalities, and celebrities. They have attracted the attention of international celebrities, such as Alvaro Mote, who plays the professor in the famous Netflix series La Casa de Papel or Money Heist.
For Nairobi.
Huruma Town Kids is a group of differently talented kids from Huruma Estate that started in 2019, its purpose being nurturing of talents. The group started with few kids and now they are 23 in number. It has helped in keeping the kids busy and away from the fangs of crime associated with the area.
At first it was just ile tu kujibamba. But the more tunaget watu na to pay attention, ndio sasa tukaanza kufanya tusemeka hizi matrailers.
It's Kenya's most ambitious conservation effort.
We didn't get the tourists to help us to...
Through media interviews, the H-Town Kids have gained traction, attracting people in the film industry, many wanting to cast some of them in their production. Through appearances on talk shows, TV interviews and adverts.
Wazazi watoi na maiki wetu. Don't be fooled.
Some of them have been able to help their families meet the cost of school fees and other needs that before their fame was a luxury. Being school-going kids, it is a challenge for them balancing work and school. They are forced at times to be away from school with permission to make a living. Most of the time, such ascent is being denied by teachers.
From Saturday, hapo ndio sasa si upatana. Hapo ndio una rehearse, either tunashoot hiyo Saturday ama tuseme hiyo wiki tuseme ni ya kurehearse. Hiyo wiki nyingine ndio ibaki. Itasalia kuna holiday.
This is Intana Njeri, the most familiar face in the group. She has starred in many of their productions and dance videos. We got a chance to see her prep for an upcoming dance video with her crew. She says they have a challenge in sourcing for costumes to do a production, forcing them to improvise, but as they say, necessity is the mother of invention.
Kuna clip mingi zenye tulifanya which nazipendanga, then kuna hii ad yenye tulifanya hii ya uwezi tucheza hiyo pia mimi naipendanga na pia ya DJ Khalid. Singine unataka kumimiku mtu lakini hiyo costume ni hard kutafuta, lakini lazima tu improvise.
Maratona this, maratona that. I thank God for my friends, they got my back.
Davil Mwaura, the eldest in a family of 2, also a familiar face in the group, gives a glimpse of their work before and during a production.
Saturday na Sunday ni unakuja huko kwa yani huko kwa hivi pale tunakujanga tuna meet tu, unaangalia vitu unafai kushika ushike na unapata hiyo siku yote full, alafu mnaambiwa kesho mna shoot.
Being a lover of their work, I asked if they could include me in one of their videos. Today they are prepping for a dance video shoot. Despite being what many might call a 2 left feet dancer, I managed to throw some moves. Both Itana and Davil say that this has helped them live life differently and aspire to be great actors, recognized in the global stage, drawing inspiration of Oscar award winner Rupita Nyong'o and Eddie Gadegi, who are putting Kenya in the global map of the big screen.
Kubwa nataka kuwa actor deadly huku Kenya. Tunaenda tuna represent Kenya vizuri, tutapiga show kali.
Mtu ajue talent yake, utry kufanya kitu yenye uko capable of.
The kids are a true testament that talent pays. Many more are encouraged to follow their dream. The world will continue inching towards being a better place.
Huruma Estate is mostly associated with crime, but the existence of Huruma Town kids has changed the perception through their talents. The kids aspire to be great artists within and beyond the country. Joyce Masharia, KUTV.
Wow, what an inspiring story there from the young ones. Never give up, your dreams are still valid. And with that, we come to our second break here at KUTV Primetime News. And when we come back, we'll come back with sports news. Stay tuned.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo pasi kufuku. Pepo pa ni idea.
Tazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaweza kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni dunia ni leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Ukiwa na dukuduku la michezo, tunafungua sanduku la dukuduku kwa ufahamu zaidi. Kila daladala, mitimko, mifiatuko na harakati zote ugani, sisi ni wako mwandani. Kukurukakara zote nyanjani, ziezi kuangaziwa zaidi ya micharazo michezoni. Mimi mwanaspoti wako matata Peter Pinches Mwaora, ndakuwa na jopo lenye maarifa sufufu, nikufahamishe na nikuburudishe wewe shabiki shakiki, uhakiki na kindakindaki.
Welcome back. Let's get sporty now. KCB forward Derek Otanga has parted ways with the Bankers after completing a move to Algerian top flight side CS Constantine. Otanga, the 2021-2022 Football Kenya Federation Premier League Golden Boot winner, has had a 2-year stint with the club and has been the club's top scorer for 2 consecutive seasons. The prolific striker is expected to link up with his new teammates ahead of a new season, which is tip-to-toe to kick off on 26th of August. And Robert Naipunyi Wanglia still remains the only Kenyan boxer to win a medal in the coveted Olympic Games and has led to many efforts of nurturing talent in the sports. Retired boxer and Commonwealth medalist Benson Gisharu for 2 years has been coaching children and teenagers from Mukuru, Kwanyayo slums, where he grew up, as a way of not only nurturing their talents but also protecting them from being traps or victims of social evils.
Every child that stems out of an informal settlement always dreams of a brighter future or better days ahead at one point in life. This is Mukuru, Kwanyayo slums in Kenya's Nairobi County, where many young boys and girls always dare to dream of a life some only see on telly. At the onset, it is always just a dream or a vision, but for Benson Gisharu, one of Kenya's renowned boxers whose childhood was spent in Mukuru slums, is a true testament that anything is possible. The Olympian and Commonwealth medalist Benson Gisharu is not just a face value beacon of hope, but an actual one who gives talented young boxers a lease of hope. He leads by example, having punched his way out of poverty.
Ilikuwa ni asubuhi, nilikuwa nimeamka jana yake, nilikuwa nimelala kama hajakula. Asubuhi yake nikaamka, nikapata mother iko kwa bed. Venye aliniona akaanza kulia, so nika realize kitu nimefanya cry ni juu hatuna kitu cha kukula hiyo asubuhi. Nikaenda huko nyuma ya nyumba, nikaangalia mkono zangu hivi, nikasema hizi ndio zitakuja kutoa getu. Kutoka hapo hivyo mimi nilikuwa nafanya mostly, nili grow up na low self esteem. At some point at the age of 11 I wanted to commit suicide. So boxing nikakwenda ni encourage, nikienda game nashinda, nikienda game nashinda.
After an illustrious career in boxing, having represented the country in the 2012 and 2016 Olympic Games, 2 Commonwealth Games and the All-African Games, the Olympian Benson Gisharu announced his retirement in May of 2018, after which he went back to doing what he loves, that is giving back to society by going back to his roots and starting a boxing academy.
Watu wa ghetto life zao zina resemble. Unaweza get kuna mtu maybe alikuwa ana go through a lot ya Kenya, mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa na go through, ama mwingine kidogo ama mwingine zaidi.
Every weekday at 5 p.m. for 2 years now, Gisharu, alongside his assistant coach Yasin Shire, offers free boxing coaching lessons for children and youth in Mukuru, Kwanyayo slums.
Na school go niliangalia nikaona kuwatrainisha tu boxing haitakuwa enough. Juu watu wengi kuna vitu mingi sana wana go through. So nikaonelea ni vizuri nirudi chuo, sasa nasomea counseling psychology, at least kando na kufundisha boxing, at least naweza wa counsel.
As early as the tender age of 5, future boxers come with eagerness, ready to learn, sharpen their skills in throwing the punches, hoping to be Kenya's flag bearers in international assignments. The school is not gender biased. Both lads and lassies equally get a chance in the free academy to inch closer to punch their way to the life of their dreams. Jen Wangari, one of the young aspiring boxers under the tutelage of Benson Gisharu and his assistant Yasin Shire, believes in becoming one of the best female boxers, drawing her inspiration from the likes of Elizabeth Andiego and Elizabeth Akinyi. She religiously comes to the boxing academy to ensure she achieves her goals.
Seme fade wangu ndule mhashi kabisa yake ndo nakuja zoezi na nule mtu wazile nini ataki anuna ni kama utatrain labda akifuruga na kwa nyumba mgonge na wewe unaionia anakwambia usiende boxing nini wewe unaenda kutrain wewe ni sana mwambia yani hiyo ni dream yangu kitu nimewish kutoka nikiwa mdogo so namuomba tu na mbeg nipe tu hiyo chance ni train nataka nile kidogo.
Wangari is aware that growing in the slums put her at a disadvantage, but this, she says, will not dampen her dreams.
Mimi nilikuwa nimekuja hapa nataka kuwa champion, inanisaidia nikitaka kufika mbali kama Zarika Fatuma, kama nilikuwa kama yeye, siku moja nijione mimi ni Zarika Fatuma wa kesho.
Unaweza toka kwa nyumba, unakuja zoezi, unakutana na mabeste kwa njia, unasikia ati unaenda boxing kila siku utakusaidia na nini? Sasa unashindwa sana niambia. Sasa kuna wengine ukufa moyo wanawaacha.
Given that it is voluntary work, challenges are part of this boxing academy that is nurturing giants in the boxing arena in the years to come.
Ukiangalia mostly pande ya equipment na nashukuru kuna a friend of mine kutoka UK anaitwa Karao aliweza kupatia gloves kasi hivyo zile gloves zenye tulikuwa tunatumia zilikuwa zimechapa zaidi. Hata sasa hii hatuna kwanza sasa hii hatuna bag tunatumia tire
labda tunaenda game tumeinvite game pale but unapata hatukuwa prepared si hatuna do si ndio tunaanza hatuna do unacheki so inakuwa inabidi coach Gisharu adip kwa pocket yake.
One of the vision of this boxing academy is to have their boxers get call-ups to the national team.
Ukiangalia nikaona ni vizuri unaona mimi kwangu unajua tuna view success in a very different perception lakini to me success is having a success I will achieve more than you've achieved in the success kwangu.
Gisharu, also a member of the Kenya Police Service, spends his days coaching budding Kenya Police boxers in the Kenya Police Force. During his free times, he also paints, a career he embraced after retiring. Out of giving back to the society, he knows he will one day nurture talent that will supersede his prowess in the ring years to come and bring Kenya back to the days of Robert Wangila, the only person to win a gold medal outside athletics.
And Hurricanes' second half had proved to be the difference between the two sides, earning Tottenham Hotspur's 3 maximum points against stubborn Wolverhampton's Wanderers side in the English Premier League clash. Tottenham was second best of the opening 45 minutes in North London, but were able to see Wolves as unstoppable. Kane breaks Premier League record with his 250th goal for Tottenham in a hard-fought win over Wolves. Well, with that story, we've come to the end of our bulletin. It has been an absolute pleasure having you on board. I'm Bentura Komboka, and our sign language interpreter for today has been Paul Wakoli. Have yourself a good night and a good evening.